Okay, Monday morning, and what an eventful weekend it was. So, I feel like I got a lot of things to share with you guys, and today's gonna be an important day too, so let me try to get through everything real quick and then get the show on the road. And I really should be filming a lot more, especially on the weekends, than I do, because I don't film at all. Let me try to give you guys a quick rundown of this past weekend and let you guys know where we currently are. So last week I was sharing with you guys that there was this boat that I was interested in going to check out. Well, I would go check out the boat, and it's still a possibility whether or not I'm actually gonna get the damn thing. So we'll just see with that. I met a really nice guy who was selling the boat. He's an investor, he's a flipper, he's done like 40 houses. He's made a shit ton of money in real estate, selling a house, making, really good money from selling the house. That's why he's getting rid of the boat. And who knows, maybe I just met some pockets, is what I like to refer to it as, over the weekend. A potential investor. The fact of the matter is there are no houses. That's the short of it right this second that I want to share with you guys. Now, I know I talked about doing a video, how I plan to find the next house. I think I've already even filmed that video. I need to look at that footage and see if that's worth sharing with you guys or if I want to refilm that. But there's a few different ways that I plan to go about trying to find our next flip house. And one thing that I've definitely been doing is I've been looking, just on the apps, on the websites, and just trying to see what I can find out there and really trying to expand my horizons far beyond my local area and also far beyond just a house, whether it's commercial property or maybe a multiplex. I've talked about trying to get an apartment complex, a little bit, but I don't think that we're necessarily ready for that just yet. So I find a couple of things over this weekend that are listed, but they're really just bait games for wholesalers. They might post like what looks like a good deal, but this is a house that either doesn't exist, the deal doesn't exist, or this is a past deal that's long since been done. A deal almost too good to be true, and I've seen a couple of those. So I messaged about 4 wholesalers all weekend long, and out of that, I only had one person respond to me with 2 different houses, and they are both complete shitholes. I'll show you this first one right here. This is a 2-bed, 1-bath in a totally different city, kind of far away from where we are, but it's not unreasonable. What is unreasonable is the fact that this thing is like 2 feet away from what looks like a commercial garage right next to it. And they're talking about the value in this house is the land. Mind you, everything inside of this house needs to be addressed and touched. For $65,000, there's nothing that you can do with this. That's a shit deal. The other property that they showed me was like a $65,000 trailer in the middle of frickin' nowhere. That was another just no good deal. So I found a couple of commercial properties. I found a frickin' hotel. $250,000, folks. We could have the Crack Shack Motel. Could you imagine the reality show that could come from running a seedy motel? God only knows how much money it would take to get that thing operational, what kind of city ordinance shit that you probably got to jump through. Yeah, so I found a hotel for $250,000. I found a gas station for $50,000. I found a whole trailer park for $120,000. There's some things out there. But the number one thing that I'm trying to do right this second is not have a midlife crisis and go buy some crazy shit. I also went and looked at a Walter White type of RV this past weekend for $15,000. Almost pulled the trigger on this, and the one thing that stopped me was the fact that, that joint was just way too big. I was going to feel like Meet the Fockers, and trying to drive something like that would probably be well above my wheelhouse. Surprisingly, you don't need a specialized license to drive a huge RV. As long as it's under, I think, 22 or 24,000 pounds. It's weight restrictions that lead to higher licenses. But the reason I was looking at that was because I've really started looking at RV rentals, toy haulers, fifth wheels. Man, there's money to be made. It's like Airbnb-ing trailers and campers. And supposedly there's some good money that can be made in that, but I don't know anything about that, so we left that alone. But I'm still kind of looking at that for probably no reason at all. Another thing that I tried to do this weekend, we went to a taco festival. Surprisingly, at the taco festival, we ran into our realtors. This thing was booming this past weekend. They had a spicy pepper eating contest. That thing was super lit. And just a really great time. I went with my homeboy Connor. Connor is the most successful professional friend that I have. And, you know, Connor's been joking around with the idea of investing with me on a project, on a house, a flip. So I started having the real conversation of investing. And it was a good conversation, and nothing is going to come of it right this second, but I'm trying to get access to as much cash, liquidity, as much, just money right on hand to be able to pull the trigger when the deal is there. Because let me tell you something, there's a bunch of stuff that's out there and I can do it myself, but I don't want to. I don't want to use all of my own money to do this because it's not the smart move to make right now when we're dealing with a housing bubble that everybody says is going to burst, but when though? Can you imagine putting all of your eggs in one basket and then that shit just doesn't work out? And I'm not saying that I want to borrow somebody else's money to lose their money. I'm just saying, oh man, I got to change this battery. I think I was explaining that totally wrong. The fact of the matter is it's, you know, smart to just have investors. And you can build, who knows, you can build an empire if you've got access to a lot of liquid cash. I want to show you guys real quick. I'm bouncing all around, but there's been a lot that's been going on this past weekend. And I just want to show you another potential house. Now this one is a little more tricky. So this house right here is $125,000. It's a 5-bedroom, 2-bath, and it's a monster. I think it's like 4,000 square feet. So this is an old house, and it definitely needs quite a bit of work. It probably has no HVAC at all. So we're talking probably about $100,000 into this house, and maybe we do it for a little bit less. Maybe it's 75. But this house could be easily $200,000 or $225,000 totally invested in this almost a damn mansion that could potentially turn around and sell for 300 plus. The only problem with this house is it's in what I consider to be a niche area, an area that would probably take a little while to sell. It's a very up and coming, out down in the holler type of an area. So that would be a scary endeavor to put so much into that. And that would be the biggest undertaking type of a project that we've done yet, where we're risking it all. And that's what I want to do, I guess. I want to risk it all. I want to push it to the max and push it to the envelope. And to get back on the conversation about the housing bubble, when, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. I think that I just read an article talking about the Fed wants to raise interest rates. If they do that, you're going to screw people up. But with the fact that interest rates are so low and that people are getting approved for mortgages, and I'm hearing people say that, oh, this reminds me so much of 2008. This is exactly what happened. Everybody was getting houses. The houses were super overvalued. And I don't know anything about that because back in 2008, my dumb ass was going to prison and getting fired from a job making $10 an hour because there was a recession and we've got to cut back on the guy making $250 a week. Thank you very much. But the banks and the mortgage companies are not making it easy to get a loan. And in fact, you better have all of your ducks in a row if you're going to get approved for a mortgage. And with the fact that they're taking extra precautions on the approval process, that's the reason why I feel like even if we do see this housing bubble burst, it's not going to be for a little while. And, you know, I've talked to people who believe that it won't be for a couple of years. And maybe that's just wishful thinking. Maybe it happens by the end of the year. Who the hell knows? But in the meantime, I'm trying to step it up. I want to get to a bigger, better house. I want to get to multiple projects. And having investors would allow multiple projects to take place. I want to do a big flip and I want to do a multiplex. And that is going to be the beginning of a potential real estate empire. Except the problem is that there's nothing available right now. There's nothing unless you want to get a super risky hotel situation or a trailer park. You know, why are these people selling is always a question you got to think to yourself. The point of all of this is I spent this entire weekend just thinking about all of these ideas, right? Looking, talking to people, having the money conversation. Hey, look, do you want to get in? And I've got some people who I could potentially bring in on this thing who, you know, could help me do more. And if I can do more, we can do more together and you can make some money. Let me work your money, maybe. Something like that. And it was exciting having these conversations, right? Like, because I'm doing some super professional shit. Anyways, it's Monday as I'm filming this right now. And guess what today is? Well, it's the 7th. And it's also the day, I just found this out, they're doing the appraisal on the flip house today. And I'm not even gonna lie to you. The inspection was something that I was not concerned with at all. It is absolutely the appraisal that means everything. What is the bank appraiser gonna say that this house is worth? And I have heard that my realtors are concerned with whether or not we will appraise. And what if we don't? I'm hopeful that we're going to appraise. Now, the thing is even though this appraiser's coming out there today, we won't hear anything about this for days. Maybe by the end of the week, maybe not until next week. Who the hell knows? We might not even hear anything at all. And usually that's what happens, is that they don't tell you shit. They just pushed the loan through. Now, ironically enough, I was there when we did the appraisal at the last flip house, and I wasn't supposed to be there. I was there cleaning up, and the appraiser was supposed to come the next day. He showed up. I don't know if you guys remember this or not. He showed up, and he's like, "Who are you?" And I was like, "Who are you?" And he was like, "I'm the appraiser." And I was walking up to this dude who was getting out of his car, and I was like, "Oh, hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you." And he was like, "Get away from me, it's coronavirus. Please stay 6 feet away from me." And I was like, "Oh, dookie stains. We are not going to appraise." And what he told me as he did it was, he was like, "What did you list this for?" I said, 118. He said, "Oh yeah, this house is worth more than that." So we know that there's at least that, plus that extra lot, the good things that we have going with this house. But with the fact that today is appraisal day, that's not until later on this afternoon. I'm going to go pick up Damon. We're going to get the house cleaned up. Actually, he's going to get the house cleaned up. I've got other shit that I got to do. I got to get this video finished for today for After Prison Show. And shout out to Damon. Damon definitely be helping me out. And I try to keep him as busy as I possibly can. The storage units that I'm looking at don't got a whole hell of a lot going on outside of the things that I've shared with you. Damon's actually even found a couple of potential houses. There's landscape later on this week. And yeah, the biggest thing that I can share with you right this second is it's appraisal day, and hopefully everything is gonna be all right. Alrighty, definitely not dressed for what we're getting ready to do, but what we're getting ready to do is we're getting ready to go cut the grass over at the flip house. It doesn't even really need it, but it kind of does. And the neighbors, bless them, all sorts of young folks, don't even really know what they do, but they are always out there cutting that grass. They cut their grass out there every 7 days, and they make sure that grass stays cut. So we can't have the grass not looking good on what is definitely the most important day that we're gonna have over at this flip house, and that is appraisal day. You know, these little bit of looks ain't even really all that important in comparison to everything else that goes into what helps the house appraise. What's the kitchen look like, the bathroom look like, type of fixtures and upgrades done inside of the house. What are the schools like? What's the neighborhood like? What's the crime like? What's the housing market and prices like in this area? So, you know, the exterior presentation is only a very small thing. So we came over here this morning, Damon and I did, just to do a little bit of cleanup, and there's not much cleanup to be done over here, really just dusting some stuff. And I try to walk out through the back door, and guess what? The back door barely wants to open. It's the screen door. The screen door, for some reason, has decided it wants to start getting jammed. Now, I don't know what the cause of this is. My first thought is that somebody's trying to break into the house, but there's no signs of that at all. It almost looks like some kind of settling or some wood expanding or something like that that has made the screen door just a little tight. So we knocked that back into place the best that we could, and that's doing pretty good. I guess a lot better than it was, but it would have been crazy had we not done anything at all and they come to do the appraisal and the back door sticking the way that it was. You know, there's no telling how this is going to play out. Is this house going to appraise for the price that we got it listed for? But I'll tell you one thing, I can't sit here and not try to do as much as I possibly can to make this house as presentable as possible on the day that we're going to find out, or at least that they're going to come and start trying to find out how much this house is worth. So if we don't appraise, damn it, we tried. And if we didn't try and we don't appraise, well, damn it, I'd have felt like there's so much more we should have done. Let's go grab the lawn equipment, get the grass cut over here, edge some bushes, and that's all we can do. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up for now, because no sense in you guys watching paint dry with us. We'll see how this goes, and I'll look forward to sharing with you guys what the outcome of all of this is. I'm sure from the realtors, I should get at least a sense after this is over with what the appraiser's initial thoughts were. And hopefully, they're gonna be good. We'll see. I'll look forward to sharing more with you guys next time, and until then, peace. And please, wish us good luck, because we're gonna need it.